What's going on, SML? We are back with SML Countdown. We've got some interesting topics and a special guest on today's show. So hopefully with a clean diaper. And so what's going on, guys? You guys ready to jump into this? We'll get this started since it looks like Straw's on babysitting duty.
Yeah, what's up? I'm excited.
All right,
Let's do it, man.
all right. So there's been a lot of talk in chat about Madden decides. Madden decides pass rush. Madden decides this. It decides that. Do you think there's anything to the Madden decides kind of talk that we've heard, Straw?
I I'm definitely one who, sometimes you go into games and all things equal, you just feel like nothing goes your way. And I do sometimes chalk that up to like, hey, this is one of those games. It happens in real life too. It happened when I was playing. Sometimes you see it and hear it from pros where they're just like, dang, nothing would go right for us today. We just kind of caught the bad end of the stick of things. And I think Madden sometimes can feel like it replicates that, where like, you know, other people are hitting passes, you throw the exact same pass and you don't get it, right? Or like missing throws or just fumbles, all these sorts of things. I think it ends up working itself out in the end, right? But also I think a good point to that is players should be better than players that they have better overalls than. So like, you know, if the D line is better than that O line, we should see them winning more. It shouldn't feel even, right? It should feel like this wide receiver's beating this DB. Like, and if one team is the better team, you do have to play a little bit harder to figure out how to beat them. That's how it should feel. So yes, I do. I would be one to be like, man. Sometimes you go into a game and it just feels like everything's not gonna go your way. But also like the guy should play to their stats, you know. So I definitely don't think it's just every situation blanket, but I do think Madden tries to throw in some of that realness
Mm-hmm.
to, sometimes it's just not your day.
Yep. What about you, AJ?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to it. I think the biggest, you know, just inconsistent thing is the trench play, like O line, D line, just game to game. I mean, sometimes you can shoot the gap without any opposition on defense because your D line's gobbling up blocks, and some games you get hit by that fullback every single time. Like stuff like that. Some of that is, but how much is it Madden decides? I don't know. How much does the game plan play into factor? Nobody really knows
Yeah.
that. Everybody has their own theories on that. Like it probably plays more of a factor than anybody has any idea. Um, but there's factors like that. But Madden doesn't decide who wins the game. I think somebody made the point, which is the point that probably ends all the arguments, is the good players always end up being good. You
Yeah.
know, So regardless of what hand Madden deals you, you kind of have to just overcome it. Game plan around it. Like, oh, okay, I can't run the ball today. I'm gonna have to throw the ball, or whatever. I have no pass rush. Figure something out. The better players usually overcome it. The players that aren't overcoming it you know, are the guys that are usually really complaining because they just lost the game because Madden beat them. So
Yeah, that's true. I think it is somewhat that, but the other thing I know Paulie brought up the Madden decides pass rush, and I find it hard to believe that there's nothing to it and it's just completely random because you always see the same guys at the top of the sack list. Not
hmm
necessarily the same teams, but Miles Garrett will be up there. Christie on the Browns, that defensive tackle.
Parsons.
Yep, Parsons. Dan's defensive tackle, McLean is always up there. So it is maybe Madden decides game to game, but I feel like if you have the better players, you more often than not get the benefit of Madden, if you want to call it that. But with that being said, make sure you guys submit new highlights. We're going to have a new segment called Maddening Moments. And anytime you think Madden kind of screwed you, go ahead and clip it, send it to us, and we'll add it to our next episode. Um, so our next topic, and this one Matt's already 2-1 this season, so it's a little late hitting the show. But is Matt as bad as he's been saying he is? He's always saying he's terrible. And we saw him win a Simbardi the first season, and he hasn't been back to the playoffs since, including last year. We had a worse record than Fig, um, who's considered one of the bottom tier players, and Matt was below him. So what do you think, AJ? Is he as bad as he says?
I don't think he's as bad as he says, but obviously, I mean, Matt is a great player, and probably in the NFC, he's in the playoffs every single year. The AFC is tough. There's just no doubt about it. Um, but I think there's some self-fulfilling prophecy thing going on with Matt, where like he starts to say it so much that he plays into his hand a little bit, where he's like, you know what, I'm gonna run the ball here when everybody else says I should pass just to prove a point. You know what I mean? And I think it probably cost him some games. I mean, this last night I was watching him against Dan, and I think he may have had a chance if he got a stop on, to call 3 timeouts and get the ball back with like 30 seconds left, and he just went to the house with 3 timeouts, down one score. So I don't know, man. Obviously Matt's a great player. He's still elite defensively. He could probably make the playoffs every year in the NFC, just scoring only defensive touchdowns. That's how much respect I have for the guy.
Yeah, I think he holds himself back. What do you think, Straw?
Yeah, yeah. I think I had the same experience even when I played him. Not too long ago, but where I still think he had a chance to kind of he wasn't out of the game, but the way he was playing, there was no urgency to try to come back and win, and so I'd say I think that Matt he definitely cares a lot more about his style of play and how he plays over winning and losing, and it's very respectable, especially in a space where everyone's gonna copy the best play. You see one person run a play well, and next thing you know, you see everybody running it. And Matt, he's gonna come and he's gonna play his game, and he's gonna win playing his game, and everybody knows the game he's gonna play, and he still wins games. I mean, he's 2-1 right now, just like you mentioned. So, I do think that self-fulfilling prophecy there. Matt always talking about how bad he is. He may the way he plays definitely allows him to lose some games and for it to seem like that. If he made a couple different choices, he'd have a couple more wins. But he definitely doesn't care about that. So I still think Matt's elite, and still tries to hide it. So that's what I'll say on that.
Yeah, I don't want to shit on him too hard because I play him tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna go light with my critique. But I think he's better than he says. But he also holds himself back, um,
Yeah.
as part of his reason for some of his lack of success these last few seasons. All right, this one I kind of snuck in. I don't know if you guys even got to look at this before the show, but the Dump Finns trade situation. Dump traded all those first round picks, which would have probably been late 20s, maybe mid 20s, for Josh Allen, and then DW comes in, and now those are first overall. I mean, DW has 5 wins on the cycle, so it's more than likely it's going to be another, you know, top pick. Do you think that changes the stance on how you feel about the trade rules, or something that maybe we need to look into as far as guys leaving, coming back, flight risks, maybe have a little stricter trade rules? What do you think, Straw?
Yeah, that one is really tough. I mean, because that's a huge blockbuster,
Yeah.
like a huge trade with a lot of ramifications for that team for a long time coming. And I think, I was somewhat in the mix for trying to poke around for what Josh Allen would cost. And I was like, dude, you make a decision like that, you have to win now, and you probably blow yourself up for the rest of the cycle,
Yep.
just hoping you can make something else happen. And so, for him to make that trade, I mean, obviously, then to leave right after, whoever gets that team, you're in trouble, So definitely something to consider there because that is tough, and it's tough for someone to come to a team like that and they're just kind of, not able to build just like everyone else, and especially this late in the season, in the cycle, you start seeing people with 90s 90 plus on offense, defense, and overall, and it's going to be so hard to build a team to compete. So definitely something that I think at the very least should be talked about, and to see, like, what does this mean, and because you want people to be able to make big trades like that. It makes the game fun and interesting, and it was conversation topic of conversation when it was happening. But then you have situations like this that then pop up. So it's tough. At the very least, warrants a conversation.
All right, what do you think, AJ?
think, and I kind of alluded to this, and I believe Bomber, you had the conversation with me in chat, but I think we have to implement that one rule, even though we don't usually implement it for SML guys that have been SML and they left and come back. think we have to take that rule into consideration, even for those OGs that come back. They no longer get the benefit of the doubt uh, when they're a flight risk. I don't know if Dump even makes that trade if he didn't think he could just leave whenever he wanted to. Personally,
Yeah.
um, so at the end of the day, DW left and never would have been in the position to begin with if he'd have stayed. Um, so there's some of that too, but um, I think they're just gonna have to abide like the rule, like they're a new guy. You know what I mean? Instead of somebody that's been around the block, and sure they have the benefit of the doubt in a lot of things, but if they just left, leaving again is not part of
Yeah.
of that.
Especially you come back to that Cardinals team that already wasn't very good. If you were burnt out with, Caleb Williams and that superstar offense you have all over the Bears, and you come back to the Cardinals, and the first thing you want to do is trade every pick in your future for a 35-year-old quarterback. Maybe some pause should have been taken and thought about it, but yeah, like you said, if DW never leaves, that doesn't happen. So maybe that's a kind of a reminder to guys that are thinking about leaving. Better be sure, because if you come back, you could end up in DW's situation. But speaking of guys that left and come back, our last topic: if you could bring back one guy we lost this cycle, or maybe the end of last cycle, who would it be, AJ?
Um, this may be the low hanging fruit, but I'm gonna go with QP for now. Which I think he'll be back anyway on his own accord, but he can come back in another division, and I'd be okay with it. Um, but um, yeah, I like QP. I think runner up, I'd probably go with Torque, but I'm assuming one of you guys are going to go with him.
All right, Straw, who do you got?
Yeah, and I just realized I was thinking about when he left, and I'm like, wait, does this fit the timeline that you said? But I love to see my guy KJ. I miss KJ. I thought he was a lot of fun to have, and that's not just because my son's initials are now KJ. But I thought KJ was a great time. I love to see him back.
All right, I probably would have went with Torque, but I'm gonna go with Bean. When Bean was here, we got
I love him.
DraftKings. It was a lot easier to do anything with a spreadsheet because he was there to help. So I'm gonna go with Bean. I think he made the AFC East a little interesting too. Um, so him leaving now, Trick is turning things around, so that's at least making it interesting. But definitely Bean for the DraftKings or Duck Kings and all that stuff. All right, so our last topic is going to be hot takes. And AJ, we'll start with you. What's your hot take?
All right. My hot take is Tiny will make the AFC playoffs this year. He will not be the division winner, but Tiny Titan will make one of the wild card spots in the AFC.
This season?
You can book this season. You could book it right now. He's 2-1 right now. That's the most momentum he's had all cycle. He's gonna keep riding that momentum
Do you
right to
happen
the
to know what
AFC
your
wild
record is on hot takes so far?
card. So far I'm 0-1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so 0-2. Straw, what's your hot take?
My hot take, I have my man Soda going to the Super Bowl.
Winning it or just going?
I have him going to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna push it even further. We're gonna have Soda winning the Super Bowl, and it's gonna be behind the legs of that
Oh, he's got
running
your
back.
running back, doesn't he? Yeah. Okay.
I got so no, but he really has. I think he's done a great job building that team up. And when I just played Stavo, and after playing that star-studded team, man, I think Soda has a team. Soda has the team that I think can compete with that. And I have him. And he's a great player. I have him going to the Super Bowl for sure.
All right. So my last season one actually came to, or my last hot take we did. I said Soda wasn't going to make the playoffs 2 straight years, and he didn't make it. So now you're going for the Super Bowl. That's a hell of a turnaround. He's a fan favorite on hot takes apparently. But I'm going to go with, for the cycle, not a single team repeats as Super Bowl champion. So we've already had Matt, Q, Woods, Stavo, and Prime. And I don't think a single one of those five is going to win another one in the last, what, we probably have 4 seasons left. So that's going to be my hot take, is no repeat Super Bowl champions.
Like that.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think
that
I'm
would be.
I think I'm 1-1 on our hot takes
What
because I
about the
picked T Steel
what
to
about the
make the
T Steel
playoffs.
one?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. 1-1. I picked him. That didn't work out very well. I think he ended up with like a third pick in the draft. So I was way off on that one.
You're just a season early, a couple
Yeah,
seasons early.
but all right, guys. So that's been SML Countdown. You've got our hot takes. We'll see how it works out. Don't forget to send those clips for your maddening moments, and we'll see you guys next time.